Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Rollan Roberts. I've got with me in the studio today Dr. Kennedy Waningu from Nairobi, Kenya. So he and I are going to be chatting and visiting here for the next hour. We'll be taking some calls. We've got a strong program, so much news, but today's going to be very special. We're going to talk about some things, entrepreneurship, not just domestically, but also internationally. But I'm going to hit on one of the most secret pains of entrepreneurship. It's not what you're going to hear at a conference or things like that. So I hope that you'll stay tuned. We'll interact with you during the commercial breaks so that it's seamless and so forth for you. But we're really glad that you're here. We're glad that you've joined. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot those over to us. They'll be monitored throughout the broadcast. And so we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll be getting started in just a moment. What do we have, Tom? Tom, can you test? Okay, there we go. That's right.
Welcome to Courageous Entrepreneur Radio with America's CEO and host, Dr. Rollan Roberts, where he takes your calls live to help you start businesses, turns companies around, and goes to the mat in boardroom battles. Entrepreneurs, this show is for you. Dealing with the stress of payroll, struggling with time management, losing it balancing family and work, wondering how to get more customers. You're about to get your questions answered. Bringing to you now, America's CEO and former CEO of the Hoverboard Company, here's Dr. Rollan Roberts.
Welcome to Courageous Entrepreneur Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Rollan Roberts, and I'm taking your calls, your questions, your opinions on all things entrepreneurship every Thursday at noon Eastern at 407-916-5400. Once again, you can call toll-free 866-916-5400 to tell me about your product, service, or business. You can also send us your questions at courageousradio.com anytime throughout the show or throughout the week. We have a form that you can fill out there. We always have a lot of fun and just talk to you during the commercials. If you're able to hit our live stream as well, you can watch the behind the scenes at courageousradio.com. We love the interaction. And if you ever come to Orlando and want to be a part of our small live radio audience, you're certainly welcome to do that. Just send us a message on courageousradio.com. I love to have a studio full. It's always a great time. So just really excited about today's program. Joining me in the studio today is my dear friend and Kingdom entrepreneur, Dr. Ken Waningu from Nairobi, Kenya. Flew in yesterday for the CEO Entrepreneur Cruise this weekend. Dr. Ken is the epicenter of entrepreneurship in Africa. He really is. He's been given divine favor and supernatural blessing with his work over there. He is just a centerpiece of the country, especially Kenya, and he's flown around the world to be here today and on the CEO cruise that leaves out of West Palm Beach this Sunday here in just a few days. So welcome to the United States and welcome to Courageous Entrepreneur Radio.
Thank you, my brother Roberts. I can't wait to be on the CEO's cruise this Sunday throughout Tuesday. It's an amazing experience. And I'm excited for your welcome upon the Courageous Radio. Yes. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
My pleasure. We're glad to have you. All right.
Thank you.
Now for my take on this week's top business news. Number one, so much news. Verizon laying off, announcing they're offering severance packages to 44,000 employees today. If there has ever been a need for people to be an entrepreneur, or, what's it going to take for them to wake up to why they should be an entrepreneur? Things like this are massive wake-up calls. You can't say you didn't see it coming. It's been going on for the last 17 years. That's why entrepreneurship really started kicking off in 2007, 2008. It became mainstream in 2010 to 2012. Entrepreneurs became the rock stars with more influence in society and culture that equaled rock stars and movie stars and A-listers and things like that. For the first time, we've had the same influence in people's lives, both with our personal lifestyles, which usually the most successful entrepreneurs in the world make a lot more money than an A-lister in Hollywood. I mean, it's phenomenal, but yet they didn't have the social, cultural platform, and that's all changing thanks to, the Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and people like that who've really been out there and been able to be successful in the marketing. Also, Toys R Us and Babies R Us are back. So it's just shocking, really. But the lenders decided to cancel the auction this week to revive the brands. It's actually a brilliant move. The problem was never the company. The problem was the financing. And when you have the right leadership and under the right direction and guidance, it can and should be highly profitable, highly successful. And so I think it's a brilliant move on the lender's part. You're going to get a whole lot more money by resurrecting those brands and by canceling the auction. So good call on that. Walgreens, this blows me away. Walgreens knew that its profit forecast was wrong in 2016, but they did not tell investors. So now the SEC is going after them hot and heavy. I moderated a shareholder call yesterday for a public company, and there are just some things you cannot say and do. It's absolutely illegal with the stock market and public companies. What you can and can't say, it almost makes no sense if you've never lived in that world. You want to be transparent. You want to be able to just communicate everything, but you can't because the SEC can see that as what they call a forward-looking statement. They can see it as you're trying to hype your stock or promote your stock or get the stock to go up. Even if I just tell you that, I'm going to have some conversations next week that may result in some additional financing, or we may close a deal here next month. We're in talks and we're trying to do it. It may not happen, but it might. Things like that, you can get in trouble for because it gives hope. And when you are a public company, hope is not the business you are in. When you are a private company, you're absolutely selling hope. But public companies can't do that. And so Walgreens intentionally, apparently the CEO and the CFO knew that they were not going to hit their metrics that they had forecasted, and they were going to be significantly off, and they did not notify shareholders. So that is a criminal white-collar crime if I've ever seen it, if I've ever heard one. And so they're being adjusted and going after by the SEC this week. Elon Musk was sued by the SEC last weekend. Saw that coming. We talked about it he was actually on the hit list last week for doing wrong and really just as a leadership role, not being the leader he should be. And then sure enough, he had tweeted out that the stock was going to be, he was taking the company private at $420 a share, funding secured. When you tweet that, just like I just got done talking about Walgreens, as a public company, you may be an entrepreneur, but you can't be naive to the laws of the land either. And that was extremely naive to tweet that unless it was actually secured, because that's considered an announcement. In the stock, whenever it was trading at $280 a share, and you say you're going to buy it back at $420, that's a whole lot of profit. So that I don't mind if I pay $350. I can drive that share price up. And then he backed out and said, "Oh, no, never mind, not going private anymore." And so all you did was artificially inflate the share price. At least that's how it's interpreted by the SEC. So they sued him. But ironically enough, within 48 hours, they had settled with him. He lost his chairmanship. He was able to remain CEO, which is fascinating. And he agreed to pay a $20 million fine, and Tesla had to pay a $20 million fine as well. So really, the relationship with the SEC and the FTC, it can be quite cozy if you are a highly successful company. That's the way it's been for years. I know some of you purists don't want to hear it. That's how it works. That's how they get a lot of their funding. If you think the government is solely funding this stuff, you're on another planet. Next bit of news: GE fired their CEO and hired a new one. Now, this might not mean a whole bunch as much, except for the fact that last Thursday, GE was the topic of conversation for our boardroom battles. I had people in here that we went to the mat talking about the lousy leadership of GE for a company that has been a staple, an American icon for over 100 years. For the first time in 117 years, they lost certain status on the Dow Jones Industrial Average and a number of other things. And then going from $400 billion to less than $100 billion in revenue, selling off Thomas Edison's light bulb division. I mean, you are getting desperate when you are at that point, and it's a lack of leadership. It's a lack of unity. It's a lack of bringing on the right leaders and then having the right leader to create the vision to lead leaders. So we just blistered them on the boardroom battles and kind of gave some ideas. And then lo and behold, we get the news that GE fires their CEO. And of course, I tweeted out and Facebooked out and all social media out. Like, I wonder if the board of GE was watching the program. And of course, the answer is absolutely not. But but either way, they took the right advice and they made the right decisions. And so that was fantastic. They've already hired a new one, and they did what we recommended to fix the ship. And JCPenney finally hired a CEO after searching for months. What's ironic about this is they hired the former CEO of Joann Fabrics. But JCPenney has to rethink clothes, period. They fall into the Sears and Kmart category for me. And so they've got to really rethink this. They have to rethink clothes, reimagine clothes. You have to do for clothes what Steve Jobs did to music with the iPod. It was not a device. It was changing the entire music industry into something they couldn't even imagine. And the same thing can happen with clothes. Think differently. Stop thinking in seasons. Stop thinking my fall collection, my spring collection. These fashionistas need to rethink, how do we wear clothes? It's more than just a style. You're listening to Courageous Entrepreneur Radio with Dr. Rollan Roberts, and I'll be right back with some really hot tools every entrepreneur and business person should be using. Clear, 3 minutes. Okay. They said we've got a 3-minute break here, so we get to visit with you for a minute, and when we come back, we're going to be talking to Dr. Ken on international entrepreneurship and all things Africa entrepreneurship, and really what it's like, and what you're seeing around the world there. The needs are different, and that's what. Look, there are 300 million people in America. There's 7 billion people in the world. If you don't know how to do international business or global business, you're missing out on 98% of your customer base. So I think it's going to be a great conversation.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. And I know there's a few things that you specifically want to share.
Yes. I want to share about observing just positioning yourself for international platform
business
or the next level of business, because you need to know how to harness the global opportunities, looking at the future industries. How will it be? Where is it going? Where is the marketplace going?
Yes.
Where is the business going? Who is taking over the next market? What should I do now? How should I prepare myself for the business now, tomorrow?
Well, most people don't live like that. They're concerned about what they're doing tomorrow night, Friday night. Where am I going to dinner? Where's the party at?
Yes.
What's happening Saturday?
Because you need to be saying, how can I save money for tomorrow, for tomorrow's party, for tomorrow's dinner? So you have to be visualizing tomorrow, not just now.
Yeah, well, I think most people spend more time planning their recreation for the weekend than they do their lives.
Yes. And that is where the global economies fall, because people don't visualize ahead.
Yes.
Yeah. So
why do you think that is? Why do you think people have a hard time with that?
Because they like settling for less.
Well, they don't like it. They just aren't willing to do what it takes to move forward. They don't have the self-discipline. They don't have the willpower. Or maybe they don't want it bad enough. They're willing to talk about how bad they want something. We got 1 minute? Okay. They're willing to talk about how bad they want it.
Yes.
But if you told them they have to get up at a certain time and that they have to go to bed at a certain time and they can't go here, they can't go there, they can't do this. The reason entrepreneurs are successful is because we pay a price that other people are not willing to pay.
Exactly.
Over and over and over and over again.
Yes. And entrepreneurship is about meeting up a need. You have to create a business that will be able to bridge a gap somewhere.
That's one of the big missings right now in entrepreneurship. They think it's about what product or service they enjoy or what they wish they had. You can create it, but don't try and sell it.
Yes.
If there's not a market need for it. Welcome back to Courageous Entrepreneur Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Rollan Roberts, and I'm taking your calls live every Thursday at noon Eastern Time. Call 407-916-5400, 407-916-5400. I'm blessed to have in the studio with me today Dr. Kennedy Waningu from Nairobi, Kenya, the epicenter, the icon of entrepreneurship across Africa and specifically in Kenya. And so I am thrilled to have you on Courageous Entrepreneur Radio today.
Thank you, Dr. Rollan Roberts, for having me. It's my pleasure.
Good. Wonderful. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
We've got several topics I want to talk to you about. Before we get going, I want you to give us a State of the Union on entrepreneurship in Africa. Because, you know, entrepreneurs here, first of all, you know what it's like here.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what it's like over there.
Yes.
What are the differences?
What I would like to say, the difference is innovation.
Okay.
I don't see a lot of innovations in Africa, but there's a lot of startup innovations, but needs a lot of education from experienced world or experienced entrepreneurs. We have, many people are startups, but the problem is are we innovative enough to really cope up with what is coming around the world? Because it's moving very fast. And I think that is just the difference.
So what sectors are hot right now, especially in Nairobi? Like, is it technology? Is it telecommunications? Is it healthcare? Where do you see the entrepreneurs wanting to start a business? What skill sets do they already have and interests and ideas? So when someone starts a business, what are they likely to start with? Is it a service business? Are they trying to invent products?
I think right now it is about product.
Okay. So they like the tangible. They like something physical, tangible that they can sell.
Yeah, something they can relate with, something they can sell.
And do they want to sell that online or in stores, or does it work like that there? Are they selling on street side?
I think technology is really coming up very fast, especially in Kenya. By the way, Dr. Rollan Roberts, do you know that Kenya is number 5 on its internet in the world?
No, I did not.
Yes, that is a plus for our country like Kenya. But what I would like to say is that if we can come from service industry where we've been doing and go to product industry, I tell you the Africa would change.
So what about manufacturing though? Where are they getting the products made?
Wow, via products locally, you know.
Okay.
For example, let's say, milk production, there is tea leaves, there is coffee, there is sugar canes there. There's a lot of stuff on the ground. And of course, in some countries like Kenya now, there's mining of oil.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting. So
look, if you are speaking to the American entrepreneur, or let me give you a better one, you're speaking to the employee right now. They are in a cubicle, or they're in their car stuck in traffic, you know, somewhere in California or Orlando on I-4,
Yes.
the construction that never ends. And so they're stuck in traffic, and you know they're going to a job or they're coming home from a job. They're miserable as all get out, but they still won't start a business. What do you tell them?
I would like to say that innovation will be the key. You're going to say, okay, what are the strategies and the ways that I want to reduce this traffic? What is this thing that I will need to come up with that will ease the way of communication or movement? That is the thing that maybe I could say for now. Yeah, sure.
So yeah, and that's interesting. I mean, that's an interesting take on the question as well. I think that personal transportation, when I was CEO of the Hoverboard company, one of the things that I wanted to do before the patent sold was to create an entire personal transportation category. I mean, this is, when you look at how many people have skateboards, how many people have bicycles, how many people are on just mobile devices to get from one place to another, there's a lot of innovation still left to be had in the personal transportation, especially in the sub $2,000 range.
Oh, yeah. And I would like to say when it comes to innovation, in communication or transportation, that one will win the market in Africa because that is a problem in Lusaka, a problem in Nigeria, a problem in South Africa. Yeah. Even in India.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If anybody would come up with such a solution for transportation communication, that will win the business automatically. Yeah. And that is good.
So let's talk about some other countries in Africa. I know, obviously, China owns so much of America with our debt and so forth. And I know the countries at large are somewhat struggling in Africa, be under the weight of debt. And how is that affecting business?
I don't see a solution very soon for the Chinese in doing business in Africa, but it's really piling debt on Africa countries, because that is where Africans need to come up with innovation, not depending on maybe piling a lot of debts. And these debts, for example, some countries, they're going to experience a lot of challenges. Some countries in Africa, because of the Chinese debt.
Well, I think
it's so huge and so
ports,
big.
We were talking about the ports in Africa.
Yes.
And, who controls those?
Oh, yeah. And that's terrible for now.
Yeah.
Because billions of dollars have been invested that the country is not able to do on each GDP.
Well, one of the things, we got two questions that came in. First of all, how to get funding for a magazine. So this guy has a couple million followers on Facebook, and he wants to monetize those followers, and he's thinking about starting a magazine. He already has some sponsors and so forth, product sponsors. He wants to start a magazine. Go ahead.
Yeah. You see, before an investor comes and invests your company, he needs to understand your company. Yeah. Nobody will take up his capital venture or something, then just put up money in your business. There's a need of getting an experience with your business. When I'm putting money in your business, I need to see how far will my business go? How far am I able to get my returns?
Yeah.
How far? How long? How many years will this business be in the business?
Well, I'm going to back up a little bit, and I'm going to say, why a magazine? Yes, it's still valuable. Yes, it is still something that would be great. But if your core business is what it is in the fish and wildlife industry, and you're doing deep sea charters, and you're doing these fishing expeditions, and you are already going that direction, and you're making money, going to creating a magazine, starting a magazine is not the objective that you probably should have. You're headed the wrong direction. It's a noble idea, but I wouldn't fund it, and I wouldn't hope that you get funding either, because it's going to distract you from your core business. I understand why you feel like that's the next logical step, but there's much better ways of monetizing that particular audience. The other question that I got this week is, should I patent my idea? We'll try to hit that. I'm going to hit that in about 45 seconds.
Just to add on the magazine, maybe it should be a social magazine to drive the audience to a social places.
It's a top of funnel solution. It's a top of the marketing funnel solution. It's a freebie. It's not something you're going to generate income. It can be a marketing strategy. It's a big business card is what it is.
Yes.
So when we come back, I'm going to be talking about, should I patent my idea? Probably not. And I can tell you I learned a lot of valuable lessons on when to patent an idea from the Hoverboard company. Made a huge mistake on that, and so I'll share that here in a little bit. Go to courageousradio.com to watch us live. Scroll down to the Entrepreneur Toolkit, and you'll see our choice for all kinds of businesses. You're listening to Courageous Entrepreneur Radio with Dr. Rollan Roberts, and I'll be right back with the business hit list and hot list after this commercial break. We've got two segments to go, and I'm going to hit. I do want to still talk about that question on, should I patent my idea before we move on. But we've got the business hit list and the hot list, and so we're going to be sharing some of those. And I've got 2 or 3 people who wrote in this week, so several of the hot list and hit list that I'm going to share are from you and from our audience. So really excited about that. Should I patent my idea? Man, it's interesting. I also wonder about the American entrepreneurs that should be tapping into the African market.
I think it's the right time to tap into the African market. I guarantee you. But then you have to see which market are you tapping into.
Yeah. Are you talking about like South Africa with Johannesburg and Cape Town versus Kenya versus Zambia?
Maybe Zambia. I would say Rwanda.
Tom, how long? 1 or 2? Okay, go ahead.
Rwanda and Kenya, Rwanda, South Africa, and Nigeria. Those are some of the right markets somebody can tap in.
Say those
in
again.
Communication.
Nigeria.
There is Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, Nigeria.
Yeah, and Rwanda.
South Africa.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
Those are some of the right markets. Really, really good.
Good.
Uganda as well. Uganda as well. Very good.
What is what's Rwanda's? What are they known for? Like, is the country in terms of entrepreneurship and business?
Production of is it? But just now they have changed. They have gone like okay.
1 minute, back in one.
Go ahead.
They've gone like doing production. Okay, they're also doing bananas. They are doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So still very much land based.
Yes,
things like that.
Yeah.
All right, we're back in 45 seconds. Welcome back to Courageous Entrepreneur Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Rollan Roberts. I'm taking your calls live every Thursday at noon Eastern at 407-916-5400. We are going to pick up with one of the questions that we got from a caller. Should I patent my idea? That's a very broad and general question, but here's what I'm going to share with you on this. And Dr. Ken, feel free to jump in if you'd like.
Yeah.
But look, when it comes to patenting an idea, my first statement is it depends on what it is. The second statement is it depends on what you're trying to make and turn it into. And then the third thing is going to be the element of timing when you file the patent, if you file the patent. So, for example, if your idea is just a modification on, say, dog collars, you may not need a patent. If you're just going to decorate it differently, but if you are using a unique material, and you have a specific manufacturing process that would block other entrants, and you expect this to be, a multi-million-dollar business, or you think that, PetSmart or somebody's going to want to buy this particular product down the road of the patent. If it truly is not just different but better, then it may be worth considering a patent. But I can tell you, patents are going to cost anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 to get, and so you don't go file a patent on every idea you have. You certainly will need prototypes, and you'll want some things like that. But the other thing is on the timing of a patent. Mm-hmm. I remember at the Hoverboard company, one of the great lessons I learned was not to file too early. Most people, and especially newbie entrepreneurs, they immediately go file a patent, think that that's how they are going to protect their idea. Quite frankly, if it's an idea that's worth its salt, the moment you file that, the information is public. And yes, in the United States and in some countries that would recognize that patent and copyright when it's awarded, you would be able to defend. But the problem is you just gave the actual blueprint on how to make what said product to the whole world. And there's a lot of countries who could care less about our patent and copyright laws,
Yeah.
and they're going to rip it off the moment you put it out there. So we actually had the strategy, learned the hard way, to actually not file a patent until the very last possible minute. And at that point, I also created our own knockoffs, knocked our own products off. Think about that.
Yes.
In order to compete with ourselves, so that it would discourage even more market entrants from knocking it off. We had over 300 Chinese manufacturers knocking off the Hoverboard, and that was brutal. Those were the ones catching fire. Those were the ones using inferior, lithium-ion batteries and everything else, causing them to burn up when an adult gets on. But should I patent my idea? Maybe, maybe not. I can tell you that 9 times out of 10, the answer is probably not. But it depends on how innovative and exactly where you're going with it. But I can tell you right now that if you patented every idea that you have to just moderately improve, or you're not going to build an entire company or business around it, you're not going to have an idea and then go sell it to a GM or a major company, a Procter and Gamble or something like that, because of their R&D departments that have so many ideas written down for the last 100 years that they can't even agree to your NDA or anything else because they may have already referenced some element of your idea in the past. So the way novice people think this works is not how it works.
Wow, you have shared deeply about that. Thank you. And I would like also to say that if you're a startup and you want to patent an idea, that's a good thing. But also I would like to say that it would really take you a long-term strategy, maybe 50 years, 100 years strategy, 100 years strategy.
Yes.
Because you'll keep fighting. You'll keep fighting.
That's it. You've got to be able to defend it.
Yeah.
Good job. Yay for you. You got a patent.
Yeah.
Now I need you to spend at least $1 million a year defending said patent if it was actually even worth getting a patent in the first place.
And
the patent is worthless if you can't defend it.
Yeah. I have 2 patents in my name, but then I realized, I might not be doing right, because I have to keep defending it. I have to keep strategies.
Right.
And you can do it in one country, but the whole world, 240 countries.
You're going to go patent it everywhere?
No.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so here it's time now for my hot list, hit list. Number 1, the loser of the week on my hit list is Amazon. Now, it's really ironic that they're on the hit list because they announced that they're raising their minimum wage to $15 an hour for everybody.
I saw that.
We should be cheering. We should be excited. But here's why they are on the hit list. Because it is not noble what they did, why they did it, when they did it. When you get more information about what they did and why they did it, it'll make you actually sick to your stomach. It's the kind of corporate nonsense that I want to change, and that is not reflective of kingdom entrepreneurship at all. So, for example, this came after years of public humiliation and pressure from governments for them to increase what they're doing. So when they finally do it, they act like they are the white knight. They're coming in on the white horse trying to save the day. And then here's what irked me. Not that they announced it, that they then urged all their rivals to do the same thing. So I'm going to put all of you out of business to where you have no margin. Then I'm going to raise them, what we pay people. And then I'm going to try and get you to do the same thing because I know you can't, and you'll be out of business tomorrow.
Wow.
It is the ultimate corporate takeover, hostage situation of an entire retail industry. I mean, it blew my mind. But I can't stand when companies do the right things for the wrong reasons. They did the right thing for the wrong reason, and then they acted like they are just, everyone's savior. And quite frankly, it's going to hurt several certain employees.
Yeah, and I think that is really wrong.
But I'm glad that they raised it, but I don't like why you did it. I don't like when you did it, and I don't like that you called out the rivals to follow suit whenever you're the reason. Only to put them out of business. It is cheaper for Amazon to make this move and to pay their employees more than to acquire the other companies that are the competition. So this was nothing more than a strategic move to eliminate the competition. It was not the feel-good social, I'm increasing this because I value my staff and my employees. And if you work for Amazon, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So now for my hot list, though, I've got 3 winners. I've got 3 companies that are just really stellar. Number 1, Kroger. Kroger announced this week that they are testing delivering groceries through Walgreens, which is great because Walgreens is a lot cheaper to build than a Kroger. It's a lot smaller. It's a lot more compact. You can have more locations. So that will be a very interesting strategy, being able to pick their groceries up from there. But I'm proud of Kroger anyway. Look, the only food store we had in the holler I grew up in West Virginia was a Kroger. Now, it was scary. It was dungy. It was dark. It's where you would go to, like, for Halloween or something. I mean, it was not a nice place to go. It was very run down. But but they have completely turned it around. When I've gone into some Krogers, I'm literally blown away by the quality of the layouts, the food. I mean, it's like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's combined. But it's not so. But I still feel comfortable there. It's still warm and inviting, and it's clean and it's airy and bright. And Publix is the only one that's even remotely come close to something like that. And Publix has a great business. I mean, they're doing very, very well. In fact, they just announced a 700 employee expansion in their Lakeland facility in Florida. And my financial advisor was telling me yesterday with New York Life that they have enough cash that they could rebuild every store with cash. I mean, they've really managed the company profitably, and they are really involved in their community. So anyway, I give a lot of props for Kroger. What you've done, turning that around is truly impressive. My second winner is Walmart on the hot list. Walmart. I've never had them on a winner's list. I think this may be the first time for Walmart ever being on a hot list. But here's why. They announced an acquisition this week, Eloquai, which is a plus-size clothing store. And I've got to tell you, this is one of the first acquisitions that they're getting notoriety for. But when Walmart gets in the acquisition business, they're starting to think differently. And that's what I like about it. That's why you're on the winners list and on the hot list this week, because you are thinking differently, and as opposed to just, what most of us know about you is your meme sites and, people really trashing Walmart, but you've got to do more than just freshen up your stores. They tried that. They did that. You've done that. Now you moved on, and so that's fantastic. My third company on the hot list this week is Sun Tire. Sun Tire. The company Sun Tire, they're a multi-location national chain, and a former C-level executive of a $6 billion company wrote into me this week to say that Sun Tire took care of his daughter's flat tire last Sunday. His daughter was almost in tears from going to 2 previous tire repair places that were nasty to her. They wanted to charge her $250 for a new tire, which she did not need, by the way, and make her wait for hours for service. So he drove 45 minutes to help because she was so upset and distraught. They had a really great experience at a Sun Tire in the past, so they went to the closest location, and sure enough, they fixed the tire in 15 minutes and for no charge. He actually even sent me a photo of the company values he took a picture of in the lobby, and they fulfilled every single one of them on their core values. And of course, he said he plans to buy all of his tires there in the future whenever possible. So that's what it takes to be on the hot list. And that's the kind of kingdom business, kingdom entrepreneurs, companies that deal with integrity that we want to promote. You're listening to Courageous Entrepreneur Radio with Dr. Rollan Roberts. And when I come back, it is time for the boardroom battles where the gloves are going to come off, brother. And the pain that people go through, as a result.
It's very hot. Very hot session.
It's not all sunshine and rainbows, Well, I hope you're enjoying Courageous Entrepreneur Radio. We have one more segment here, and we're with Dr. Ken from Nairobi, Kenya. Flew in yesterday, and we'll be on our CEO cruise heading out on Sunday. But there's so much news, and this last segment I think is going to really, I've saved a topic for this particular segment, which is rare. Normally, we bring up a lot of topics throughout the whole show, but because we had a couple of questions that we had to answer with the patents and so forth, I've saved a topic that I wanted to talk about for entrepreneurs till the very end. So we're going to do the boardroom battles, and then we're going to move right into the topic that I have for you today. We have 2 minutes. My thing with companies like Sun Tire, who will do the right thing when no one's watching.
Yes.
I really hope that as entrepreneurs, you will focus on that area this week. Clean your life up. Like clean it up. Who you are when no one's watching. What you'll do, the shortcuts you're willing to take shows you what kind of a person you are, what kind of products you're going to make, and you can say, well, I'm going to hold the standard for everybody else here and my employees, but then I take the shortcuts. No, I promise you they see and they will take shortcuts. And even if they don't see exactly the shortcuts you're taking, they can smell it. And you can't fake it. You can't hide it. The only way that you're going to be successful is to be it. And so that's the baseline and the basis of kingdom entrepreneurship. So, Tom, what do we have, 30 seconds? All right, I think we're going live in about 30 seconds. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to Courageous Entrepreneur Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Rollan Roberts. I'm taking your calls live every Thursday at noon Eastern Time. Call 407-916-5400 to talk about your business, to talk about your idea, or just to give us your opinion on the patents and all the questions that kind of come up during a typical show. But it is now time for the boardroom battles. This is a key segment of Courageous Entrepreneur Radio where the gloves just come off. We are in a boardroom. You get to be a fly on the wall, or you can call us and join in. Hey, I'd love to go head to head with you on this. Our conversation, our topic, our boardroom for this week. Mm-hmm. All right, you ready?
Ready.
You are the CEO of Coach, the clothing brand Coach.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
They are a high-end and mainly women's retail fashion with purses is what they really are known for. And then they went to shoes and clothes and things like that. But the women's clothing store and purse store, Coach used to be a luxury brand. I'm throwing out some warnings on this because I see the decline of Coach.
Okay.
And if I was in their boardroom right now, there better be some battles going on. Like, here's the question, Dr. Ken. Do you want to be the fence at the top of the hill or the ambulance at the bottom? I mean, I prefer to be the fence at the top that keeps you from going off the cliff.
Yes.
And then I'm still going to have an ambulance at the bottom to pick you up when you make the dumb mistake.
Yeah.
But Coach here, they used to be a luxury brand. Their brand has declined so much, and it still has some high-end stores. It even created a Coach for men, which I think that that was a misstep. But they're silent. They're silent. They're declining. So we got to talk operations, marketing, and all things CEO strategy in the boardroom right now. The question is, how do we stop the decline? What do we do?
Well, it's very interesting. Maybe walking as Bob, Bob on the top of a hill and
right. Yeah, the fence at the top, and the ambulance at the bottom. Yeah. I'm trying to be the fence for them right here. I'm trying to keep them from ending up where some of these other clothing stores and retail stores go to the graveyard. Here, let me give you a quick overview.
Yes.
So they were a luxury brand. Most people had their purses, and then they have the high-end stores. Then they opened up outlet stores. Usually that's the kiss of death for a luxury brand. When you open up an outlet store, it is the kiss of death for your luxury brand. And then obviously they have knockoffs. Coach purses have been knocked off for a long time, just like Rolexes have been knocked off for a long time. And but here's the thing: Rolex isn't opening up outlet stores just because their product's been knocked off. So Coach has high-end stores. They have outlet stores. I don't know what their online strategy is. I can tell you what their de facto online strategy is, and that is people selling them on eBay. I mean, if you go online to buy a Coach purse, you don't go to Coach.com, you go to eBay. So they have to understand in the boardroom, they got to know how this is affecting their business and what they're going to do about it. And so the other question that I would ask if I'm in the boardroom is on strategic acquisitions. What is a strategic acquisition that you either need to be acquired or that you can acquire? And quite frankly, maybe you've decided to not play in the luxury market. Maybe you want to come down and play in more of a middle market area and be a higher end brand for a lower income people. That's fine. That's great. There's a niche for that. But here's the reason why I bring it up. Versace went the other way. They made the same mistakes that Coach has made with selling their clothes through discount outlet locations. It started lowering the price compared to a Gucci and Louis Vuitton. And it's cost them dearly. And so now they were just acquired, which will help by Michael Kors last week for a couple $2 billion and it'll turn them around and they may go higher end. I don't know what their strategy is going to be, but for Coach, which of these strategies, would do you think is the best for a luxury brand? Do you think they should intentionally recognize where they are, or should they try and get back to where they were?
They should try either to get back to where they were. They need to think out a strategy because it might go off completely. It's already gone.
Right,
it's already gone because they would need to think out of a strategy on how to come back to where they were. They need to come up with a new way of rebranding to see themselves in the market because nobody can buy such a brand again.
Yeah. So so it comes down to leadership. So if I was hired to go into Coach tomorrow in the boardroom, I create a couple different categories. The first thing I do is find out what's the goal, what's the objective, what are we trying to do here, who do we want to reach, and then I'm going to create two categories: the critical few and the trivial many, just like in my book, The 90-Day Promise. And so I'm going to then make those categories, and you're only allowed to give me two things, one or two or three things max that you do on a daily basis. And then all the other things you do, all those other meetings you have, all of the other the details, that's going in the trivial many. And if you're in that C-suite, the only thing you're going to be working on every single day is something on that critical few, because you're waving the flag of look, there's a problem here.
Yes. Yeah, I think they need to go back to where the CEO of Nokia said, "We did nothing wrong."
Wow.
That's what he cried. He was asked, "Why is the Nokia Global gone down?" He cried.
Yeah,
the CEO shed tears and said,
"We basically made the cell phone." And how many people do you know that carry a Nokia today?
No.
Like none.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to go down.
Somebody blew it.
Yeah.
Somebody need to get fired. Let me ask you this. We've talked a lot about entrepreneurship, and this is courageous entrepreneur radio, not scaredy cat entrepreneur radio, not be fearful entrepreneur radio. It's courageous. Be very courageous, because you've got to be courageous to be successful as an entrepreneur, because you're going to be tested and tried, and you're going to go through the fire, and it's going to be ugly. But let me tell you, there are scars that are only beautiful for people who come out the other side. The people who have gone, there's a beauty in pain. There's a beauty in suffering. There's a joy that can only come from suffering. Did you know that? I mean, it seems really counterintuitive. Yeah. But there's a joy, and you can tell it on people's demeanor, on their faces, that the ones that have gone through it, and that fire has purified them, it has cleansed them. They come out more beautiful, more refined, more shiny than ever before because of those problems and those trials. But let me tell you, I was talking to some entrepreneurs last week, and I told them that entrepreneurship, you will face hardships and difficulties that normally in a marriage that would happen over the course of 10 years. And in entrepreneurship, you're going to experience that in a pressure cooker, in a microwave situation. You'll experience it in a 3-month period. So the problems that most people experience over 10 years, you're going to experience in 90 days. And that's why most marriages blow up for entrepreneurs. They can't handle it. It's too much stress on the relationship. It's too much pressure on the family. They can't pay the price and do what it takes to survive. There is a suffering in entrepreneurship that we don't talk about. There's a suffering in entrepreneurship. We show the cars, the fancy homes, the fancy planes. We show
fancy
the brands.
life.
Yeah, we're on TV, we're on radio, we're in the media, we're on the front page of the magazines. But there is a suffering that comes with entrepreneurship.
That is why I thank God for the King David, the kingdom, the camp, the David camp for entrepreneurs.
Because
courageous entrepreneurs.
If they go to courageousradio.com, they'll see the courageous ranch that we have.
Because that suffering, that pain, gets almost 99.9 of the top CEOs on the planet. And that's not a very good thing. That is what breaks them. That's what breaks their marriage. That's what breaks their companies. That's what breaks their relationship.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
The problem is not just like Coach. The problem is not some of their strategies. The problem is probably distractions that the CEOs have at home, or people in leadership are having in their personal life, or with their kids, and with their own mentality, their own morality, their own ethical. But they can't sleep at night. They're taking drugs to go to sleep. They're taking more drugs to wake up. They're taking drugs to stay awake. I mean, I just drink some coffee throughout the day. But, look, the problem is there's a pain. Same cruise that we're taking here on Sunday. It's $199 per person. You can go to ceocruise.com, and that includes everything, including gratuities and port fees and taxes. And Peter Lowe will be on there with me, the inventor of the Happy Meal, McDonald's Happy Meal. Open the first Ronald McDonald House. He'll be there as well. You can reserve your cabin at ceocruise.com. I'll be at Tomco's Tavern tonight if you're in Orlando with Dr. Ken.
He'll
be with me at 6:30.
I'm excited to be there.
Yeah, so come on by, pull up a chair, and we'll continue the conversation a lot. I mean, you're going to be encouraged. You're going to be blessed. You want to be there 6:30 tonight. I love getting to know my audience. And besides, I just love people. But you got to put yourself in the place where people are. You can't just sit at home and expect that we show up, and you got to come hungry. You got to want it. because you're going to be tested over and over and over again. Sure. And the people who win are the ones that don't quit. We're not the brightest bulbs in the box usually. Yeah. We're just the ones that don't give up. And we're the ones that know our calling. We know what we're here for. We know what our purpose is. So we want you to come tonight and be a part of that. Also, I'll be broadcasting live from the campus of Liberty University on October 18th. That's 2 weeks from today. You don't want to miss that. We'll have special guests. We have an in-studio audience. I'll have some of their entrepreneur students that are working on projects and companies and businesses that will be bouncing ideas off. You don't want to miss that. I love young people who start businesses. Mm-hmm. I think it's the best way that you can protect yourself, insulate yourself for the future, and actually invest in kingdom activities. I'll be taking your calls, growing your businesses, and creating breakthroughs again next Thursday at noon Eastern Time. Thanks to my amazing sponsors, New York Life, Win Experiences, and Tom Coe's Tavern. Go to courageousradio.com to learn more about each one of them. You've been listening to Courageous Entrepreneur Radio. I'm Dr. Rollan Roberts, encouraging you to live your faith in business.
You've been listening to Courageous Entrepreneur Radio with America's CEO, Dr. Rollan Roberts. We pour time-tested business principles into hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs every week, and we could not do it without your sacrificial giving. If you want to engage Dr. Roberts to speak or work with your organization, connect with us at courageousradio.com or at Courageous Media on Facebook. Join us next week as Dr. Rollan Roberts shapes the lives and businesses of entrepreneurs the world over.
All right. Wow, good job, brother.
Yeah.
Well done.
You enjoy that?
Yeah, I enjoyed
Good.
it.
Thank you all for joining us. I mean, it's always a blast. And the time goes by fast, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It just flies by. There's so much to be able to talk about. And I hope that you were blessed and encouraged. And if there's a way that we can help you, certainly reach out at courageousradio.com. If you've got questions on your business, hiring, firing, growth, strategy, new product launches, whatever it is, I mean, all things entrepreneurship, it's what I eat for breakfast. I love this stuff. So reach out to us on courageousradio.com, and I hope you have a blessed week. Any words from you? Because they're not going to be on the CEO cruise, most of them.
Oh, yeah, sure. If you are not going to be on the CEO cruise, you need to know that by the grace of God, the Courageous Global Legacy team, you can join the courageouslegacy.com.
Let me show them.
Oh, yeah, and see what
you're saying. Courageouslegacy.com.
And join what we're doing to support the vision and dream of Dr. Rollan Roberts around the world, in Africa, Asia, Europe, Australia, around the world. Be a prayer partner, be a financial partner to support these great meetings. If you want us to come in your city, we are ready to come in your city. Get in touch with us. Legacy Courageous.
Courageouslegacy.com. We really want to be on every continent. Yeah. And you can see at courageouslegacy.com the North America, South America,
yes.
Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa. You'll see there, and you can choose how you want to participate.
Yes.
But everyone moves from sustenance to when it comes to income, and usually in their life experience from sustenance, like how do I survive, live another day, to surplus.
Yeah.
I've got enough to live, and I've got enough to help other people, and I've got a comfortable life. So surplus. And then you end up moving to a place of where you desire significance. You desire legacy.
Yes.
You desire impact and something bigger than you, something you want to be a part of. And I can tell you right now, this is way bigger than me. Yes. It's way bigger than Dr. Ken. But what we've said is just kind of surrendered and said, we'll do what you want us to do. We'll go where you want us to go. And God is opening doors across the world.
Yes.
Governments for us to be in. And really just promote entrepreneurship and helping people start businesses for the right reasons. And it's not just to make a buck.
Yeah, sure. That's encouraging. We would like to come to your city, to your country, to your nation by you organizing the Courageous Global Legacy team. And we need your partnership. We need your company. But then we need the kingdom-driven people from the secular world, everything like that. Companies, organizations coming together, God's people. I was excited what I saw at the church yesterday. Millionaires, great people for that kind of course. So thank you so much. It was great having you, Dr. Rollan Roberts. I appreciate so much.
Thank you for being on Courageous Entrepreneur Radio, brother.
It was my pleasure. Love you. Thank you.